because of our levels of vulnerability and our levels of exposure, it is important that we're always putting in measures to ensure that the country is prepared.
As the magazine unfolds, OPM's Acting Director General Richard Thompson will share measures being put in place in the event Jamaica is impacted by a hurricane this season. Stick around for the details, plus how the experts track and measure weather systems, and a new development underway in Montego Bay. All that and so much more in today's Jamaica Magazine. Hello, I'm Adrian Atkinson.
We want a productive Jamaica. We all are productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity, free a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand.
Productivity, pathway to prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, September 5. A state of public emergency, SOE, is now in effect for the entire parishes of Clarendon and St. Catherine. A SOE gives the Joint Security Forces extraordinary powers to stop, search, and detain. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the announcement this morning during a press conference at Jamaica House.
This proclamation of a state of public emergency shall remain in force unless revoked for a period of 14 days or for such longer periods, not exceeding 3 months, as both houses of Parliament may determine by a resolution supported by a 2/3 majority of the members of each house.
Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the high level of crime in Clarendon and St. Catherine since the start of the year is at a scale and nature where it greatly endangers public safety. He says Clarendon now has the second highest number of murders, reaching 100 since the start of the year. The St. Catherine South Police Division has recorded 91, while 66 murders have been committed in the St. Catherine North Police Division.
We feel it is our duty to stand between those who would do harm and those in danger. Our objectives, therefore, are to establish and maintain a period of low violent crime in the volatile communities within these parishes, to curtail the free movement of criminal gangs and weapons and deny them the opportunity to commit violent crimes, to disrupt criminal enterprise and to provide the opportunity for greater investigative focus on perpetrators of violent crimes and their facilitators.
Commissioner Anderson says St. James, Westmoreland, and Hanover have recorded reductions in murders since the start of the tri-parish states of emergency. The murder rate for St. Andrews South also declined by 75%. In relation to the seizure of illegal firearms and ammunitions, Commissioner Anderson says 73 guns and 4,500 rounds of ammunition were recovered in St. James since January.
This is indicative of a lot of the work that's being done under the ambit of other police work being done under the ambit of the states of emergency, including community interventions, including building out our intelligence network, and including the investigations that are being done.
2 teams left the island today to assist with disaster recovery efforts in the Bahamas. The country was hit this week by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian, causing severe flooding and extensive damage to structures. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says an advance team as well as a full disaster response team were deployed for a month.
That is the team that we had sent to Dominica, and they are a very well trained, very well experienced disaster assistance and recovery team. So Jamaica will have presence in the Bahamas, and we will be at the disposal of the Bahamian government if they require any further assistance.
Chief of Defense Staff Lieutenant General Rocky Meade says the team is being led by Lieutenant Colonel Godfrey Sterling.
We are prepared to send our Coast Guard vessel with additional supplies for sustainment of our troops and some relief supplies for the Bahamians. And once we get there, we will get into details of what we'll do. But certainly some of the immediate things would be to help in setting up temporary bases for not just us, but the Bahamian Coast Guard to function from, to assist in additional rescues, to assist in recovery, to help with route clearances, to help with logistics arrangements, including movement and distribution of supplies.
Citizens now have greater access to legal aid information and resources with the launch of the Legal Aid Council's website on Monday. The website provides information on where and what times persons can go for legal aid, as well as the lawyers available. The schedule of the Mobile Justice Unit is also available on the site, and persons can make requests for the unit to visit their communities. Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck says the launch of the Legal Aid website is a move towards achieving a first-class justice system.
Today's launch of the website is a technological leap for the Legal Aid Council that will have a profound effect on the ordinary people of Jamaica who want to access critical information to get quality legal representation.
$191 million will be spent to carry out rehabilitative works under the Rosetown Integrated Infrastructure Project in Kingston. Cabinet has approved the contract by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund, JSIF, for Contracts Enterprises Limited to carry out the works. The disclosure was made by Minister with Oversight for Information, Carl Samuda, during Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House.
The project will see the installation of 3.54 kilometers of 100 millimeter PVC distribution water mains, including 5 hydrants and service laterals to lots, and a PVC sanitary sewage inclusive of 10.38 kilometers of 100 millimeter diameter and 5.7 kilometer of 200 millimeter diameter pipes. The roadway will also be redone. Works are expected to last on this project for 10 months.
Cabinet also gave approval for the construction of the new Port Maria Fire Station in St. Mary. The $217.5 million project will be built by Marshall Construction Company Limited and managed by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund.
The works will include the construction of 3 single-story structures to house firefighting equipment, engine bays, dormitories, as well as administrative and training facilities.
And finally, the National Craft Policy and the Visa Policy and Action Plan were approved by Cabinet. Minister with Responsibility for Information, Carl Samuda, says the Visa Policy and Action Plan is meant to streamline the governance and regulatory framework for the issuance of visas.
The policy is expected to result in improved traveler experience and relieve the administrative burden on missions that currently issue visas. It will also allow for more flexibility, such as changes to the visa requirements, reduced documentation, standardized cost, and limited personal appearance at overseas missions and honorary consuls.
As it relates to the National Craft Policy, Minister Samuda says the revised document is to be tabled in Parliament as a white paper. The policy was first brought before the House in 2018 as a green paper, following which a final consultation session was held with stakeholders during a policy validation workshop.
Recommendations by stakeholders were considered and incorporated into the white paper. The modifications focused on strengthening some of the objectives and strategies to ensure clear alignment with the policy issues. There was also a revision of the language to reduce ambiguities, specifically the replacement of craft, visual arts, and souvenirs with craft products.
According to Minister Samuda, the policy aims to streamline the craft industry through improvements in quality, variety, value, sales, customer satisfaction, and profits. The policy will also promote greater local identity of finished craft and souvenirs, innovation, better packaging, regulation and production, and distribution facilities. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Water is precious. So we encourage everyone to practice the 4 R's of water conservation. Always remember to reduce your use of water wherever possible. Replace water wasting devices with water savings devices. Reuse water wherever possible. And wherever leaks are found, please repair them and repair them quickly.
Don't delay. Practice the 4 R's of water conservation today.
The Urban Development Corporation broke ground in February, and work is progressing steadily on the state-of-the-art closed Harbour Beach Park in Montego Bay. We have an update.
Travelers using the Howard Cook and Jimmy Cliff Boulevards in Montego Bay, St. James will notice a new addition to the beachfront property popularly known as Dump-Up Beach, where temporary fencing has been erected. This is because construction works for the multi-million-dollar closed Harbour Beach Park development has started. The Urban Development Corporation, UDC, and its primary development partner, the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, broke ground for the $1.29 billion development in February. Funding is provided by the Government of Jamaica, TEF, the Inter-American Development Bank, and the St. James Municipal Corporation.
The Closed Harbour Beach Park is a project that the UDC management and staff are very excited about. It's really our flagship project for this financial year that addresses the wide range of services and interventions we'd like to make in a sustainable way, in that it addresses everything, the economic, the social, and the environmental concerns in the area.
We were pleased to partner with the UDC on this project. 16 acres with the beachfront right in the center of Montego Bay. We felt we could do something special with that, and that's exactly what we're doing.
The 16-acre property is being transformed into a recreational space that will operate as a free-access licensed public beach and a multi-purpose park for residents of and visitors to Montego Bay. Construction started in May 2019, and the project is progressing well in keeping with the schedule. So far, structural buildings for the kiosks are up and are at the stage of rough casting and finishing.
In total, we have 8 kiosks. We have already erected all 8, with only 2 roof slabs remaining to be poured.
In addition, work is being done on the bathroom and changing facilities, as well as a main building that is being prepared for roofing. The building should be completed by December 2019. Construction has also started on the perimeter fencing that runs along Howard Cook and Jimmy Cliff Boulevards. Contractors for the closed Harbour Beach Park is M&M Construction Limited.
We have started our infrastructure works. We have sewage work presently installed, not complete, but very advanced. We have stormwater system that has started as well. We have also what you call a promenade, which includes a seat wall. We have done excavation, probably say about 25% of that section.
Closed Harbour will, upon completion, will have a 700-meter jogging trail. It will have a futsal or beach football area, beach volleyball, kiddies play area, multi-purpose courts, as well as a multi-purpose event space.
The UDC carries out regular inspections and holds meetings to ensure the project is being executed according to design specifications and quality, as well as within the expected timeline. Water quality monitoring is also being conducted.
The entire process is to ensure that the quality of the water is maintained before the start of the project as well as at the end, so that it ensures that the people of Montego Bay have pristine waters to swim in.
Simultaneous with the development of the closed Harbour Beach Park is the rehabilitation of groins along the area. This is to protect the shoreline from erosion and to support the sustainable development of the beach. The closed Harbour Bay Beach and the rehabilitation of the groins form part of plans to redevelop Montego Bay. The UDC's involvement in Montego Bay ranges from the establishment of the hip strip now called Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, as well as Howard Cook Boulevard. The UDC also manages the Walter Fletcher Beach, which is open to the public.
The development of closed harbour is an important next step in really bringing new urban interventions to Montego Bay. We are very pleased to bring this together. Construction is underway, it's going well, and we look forward to delivering and opening this park in 2020.
The UDC making development happen in Western Jamaica. To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 876-656-8031 or visit their website at www.udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston.
We are in the peak of the hurricane season. This point, between September and October, is when some of the strongest systems historically have been formed. It takes precision by weather experts to track these systems in order to give us accurate data. Take a look.
Hurricane Matthew is still a Category 4 hurricane on the Saffir-Simpson scale. It is continuing to move northward, which takes it closer and closer to Jamaican waters. More information is coming out from the Hurricane Center.
The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1 through to November 30. These dates historically describe the period when most tropical cyclones form in the Atlantic basin. A number of tools are used, like satellites, radars, and computer models, to determine where a hurricane will go and how intense it will be. But a critical part of forecasting is done by the specially equipped NOAA aircrafts called Hurricane Hunters, which collect data through high-flying meteorological stations.
That will be transmitted back to the Hurricane Center and then made available to all the region, including Jamaica.
WC-130J Hercules is a high-wing, medium-range aircraft used in weather reconnaissance missions. This plane is configured to penetrate tropical disturbances and storms, as well as hurricanes and winter storms, and get data on the movement, size, and intensity of these systems. The NOAA Gulfstream model, nicknamed Gonzo, is a high-tech, high-flying, and high-speed twin-engine jet that flies around and over developing tropical cyclones to create a detailed picture of the surrounding upper atmosphere. It has a range of nearly 4,000 nautical miles and a cruising altitude of 45,000 feet. The Lockheed model, nicknamed Kermit, is in a class by itself. Formulated with unique scientific instrumentation, radars, and recording systems, the Kermit is able to do horizontal and vertical scans of storms.
So we'll have two meteorologists sit up front there. The person in the left seat is usually verifying the dropson data that we're collecting. The person on the right is helping with navigation. The station behind that is where our radar operator sits. So we've got a radar in the nose and a radar in the tail collecting data for us. This is where all of our data systems reside. And then back here is where we're actually dropping the songs. So we'll prepare one of the sonds here, pass it over to that guy. He'll prepare it there just so we have a backup just in case this computer goes dead or that computer goes dead. Once the sond is ready to go, close the door.
Cutting through the eye wall of a hurricane, lashed by extreme winds, dazzling rain, and fierce updrafts and downdrafts before entering the calm of the storm, probing every wind and pressure change during the course of 8 to 10 hours. So why aren't these aircrafts torn apart during these flights? Well, they are generally not destroyed by strong winds while in flight. It's the sheer or sudden change in horizontal or vertical winds that can destroy an aircraft or cause its loss of control. That's why NOAA Hurricane Hunter aircraft don't fly through tornadoes, but they are always monitoring for hotspots of severe weather and shear that they can often identify on radar and avoid if it's too severe.
We are always in direct communication with the National Hurricane Center. As soon as they get the information, we speak to them, they tell us what is happening, and so when we are ready to issue a warning, if we feel that we are threatened, we communicate that to the Hurricane Center. We are ready to issue a warning, what do you think? And we take that decision and they make it public to all the countries, not only in the region, but even wider than that through the internet and other means.
Yo, this is We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to OPM.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Our neighbor, the Bahamas, was hit this week by Category 5 Hurricane Dorian. Preliminary images show severe flooding and damage to structures. Here in Jamaica, we have to be prepared to respond to any possible threat from a hurricane. Acting Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, Richard Thompson, shares those details.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. Jamaica's preparedness to respond to natural disasters such as hurricanes, floods, or earthquakes is critical to our recovery process. As such, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, has to ensure that efforts are strategically coordinated. On today's program, we look at some of the measures in place for the 2019 hurricane season with Acting Director General Richard Thompson. Mr. Thompson, we are in the hurricane season. What kind of season are we expecting?
Well, yes, we're in the hurricane season, and we all know that the hurricane season extends from June 1 to November 30th. Yes. Based on the prediction that came out of the National Hurricane Center, and what was given by our local Met Office, who works in close collaboration with the National Hurricane Center, we are expecting what is called a near normal season. So the meteorologists are saying that we're expecting roughly about 30% above. It could be 30% above normal or 30% below normal. The prediction for the season is for about 9 to 15 storms, 9 to 15 named storms, 4 to 8 to be hurricanes, and 2 to 4 to be major hurricane. You're talking about Cat 4, Cat 5. So that's the season that we're expecting. So because of our levels of vulnerability and our levels of exposure, it is important that we're always putting in measures to ensure that the country is prepared. Yes. And preparedness is not just about the workings of the ODPEM. It's a comprehensive working across all the fabric and apparatus of the national system. And we work in close collaboration with the local authorities, the parish councils, the works
tell me about
agencies.
some of the things that you have in place to
So
in the event we are hit by a hurricane.
So a lot of it is a part is to ensure that your systems do work, and that you're exercising your system, and that persons have a clear picture, clear operation picture of their roles and responsibilities. So yes, we would have a national store we have supplies, your what we call comfort items, cots, blankets, you name that, some generators, GP tents, those kind of things that we have in store, and then the other agencies will be doing their work as well, ensuring that there's drain rehabilitation. We are doing a lot of work in the country as it relates to enhancing our road infrastructure, to ensure that our road infrastructure are robust enough that we don't have significant flooding, because those road infrastructure would have new and improved drain that we're doing a national drainage plan that should look at new capacity, new size for drains, to ensure that there's not a lot of flooding in our urban space. So we have been doing a lot of that work. Yes. Enhancement in terms of the JDF, enhancement in terms of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the Jamaica Fire Brigade. We have on average a little bit over 900 shelters nationally. And we do early in the season and as best as possible sometime throughout the season shelter assessment to determine whether we are keeping those that we have as shelters, and or we are taking out some that we have on the books now as shelters. And what normally happens is that a lot of our schools are used as shelters. One of the thinking behind that is because the school should have a design capability and a capacity so that it can withstand a lot of events, because you know that it holds our most vulnerable population for a very long period of time.
Yes. When do you decide to open a shelter? When do you spring into action?
So once we're activated, then and you have given all the notification, then you would expect that the shelters the shelter managers are activated, and they would try to, as best as possible, open the shelters, because they don't want to be trying to open a shelter during the event, especially during a hurricane. You want to ensure that the shelters are open in advance. So once you're saying to persons, if you live in low-lying areas, you need to evacuate, you must have the shelters open for persons to go into the shelters.
Speak to Jamaica as it relates to us preparing ourselves.
Well, as I said, not seeing any rain is because we're in a drought. But as I said, it takes only one, so you have to ensure that there is constant preparation. Persons should ensure that they have their family disaster plan. Not a lot of us look at that, to ensure that you have a family disaster plan, your family know where, if something major happened, where they should meet up, that you have as best as possible your supplies in home, you're checking your roofs. Know that it is a dry spell. You might not know if you have some kind of leakage, or you need to do some reinforcement or retrofitting of your roofs. Check for trees that are close in proximity to your homes. Do some prunings.
We have to wrap now, but it was a real pleasure speaking with you, and I guess we have to do another program.
Yes,
thank you
very much.
This has been Get the Facts with our guest, Richard Thompson, Acting Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, OPM. Until next time, I'm your host, Rose Campbell. Take good care.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.